call the meeting to order. And I get first item is to review and approve the minutes of the September 8th meeting.
Which I didn't.
Did everybody get a chance to?
I didn't
to review them.
I printed a copy, which I could hand to around if.
Oh, great.
Oh.
They were in that attachment from Jerry?
They were in the attachment from Jerry.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah.
And Brian took the notes. So,
Don't blame me.
yeah, I thought they were accurate.
Cleo, you were not here, right?
I was not.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was an accident.
You don't need to see
No,
it.
I'm good.
Scott, do you want to look at it or are you?
Yeah, if you could
Sure.
scan it real quick.
Okay. Great. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from September's meeting.
Wonderful. I'll second that motion. Are we all in favor? Great. We all are. That's done. So we can go on to our usual list, which is discuss and work on our identified goals and incentives and zoning. So incentives, Brian, you
Yeah, you want to go through what I sent out?
absolutely.
Yeah, sure. So, I took another cut at updating and revising what we talked about back in September. The primary thing was, as we discussed, I added some verbiage and I highlighted the sections that were specifically changed, kind of the way that we discussed what to do.
Yep.
So I'm looking for kind of final piece of feedback, but essentially, I added a little blurb in there that, we did talk to the tax office, who kind of give us that breakdown of the tax and the grand list.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I've split it into two categories. Originally, I was just going to truncate it at 100K for net, but then kind of the sentiment was, let's just leave it on there, but I broke it up that there's one category which is sub 100K for net
Yep.
assessed value, and the key differential there is that that one would be left up to the tax assessor's discretion to bring to the Board of Selectmen to kind of avoid driving more time into the process and maybe more pain. If under 100, yep.
So the tax assessor has the option to handle it
Decide,
themselves.
right? They
Great.
can decide, right? Because
Which makes a lot of
from
sense.
talking to her, it sounded like a lot of things were going to be like sub 10K.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
more you can get going, the better. Was kind of the thought.
Yep.
Impact at 100,000 is like $2,000, I think, is the impact to the town.
Probably.
So
Right.
it's pretty light.
Yeah. And then anything above 100K kind of still remained within what was the original kind of clauses. So I don't know if it's one form or two forms or whatever. We'll have to kind of refine that just to figure out how we standardize it. Maybe that we just hand that off to the tax. I don't know. Once we provide a proposal, how it then gets handed off into the chain to get.
Well, I would think that
Executed.
the tax collector
Would write it up.
themselves would
Okay.
write it up because they'd be the expert in this.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
The collector or the assessor?
Assessor, sorry. Assessor.
Okay.
Yeah. Who
So-
should it be?
Brian, I saw you were kind of flipping between
mixing and
collector
matching.
assessor.
Yeah.
In category one, just
Okay.
a little. My big
Yep.
question I had was when we look at the clawback provision,
Yeah, I don't know how to do clawback.
it was,
Yeah.
it just reads a little wonky where it says it's based upon the final assessed value once all the work is completed, right?
Yeah.
Once the project has been completed, then any agreement entered into this program shall be immediately terminate. Okay, so I think if it came in below a certain level, right? I mean, what we're trying to do, the clawback kind of
It's only if it doesn't meet the
maintains,
standard.
like up front we say, hey, this is going to deliver X
Mm-hmm.
in assessed value, and the clawback is if that doesn't
I
materialize
see.
after the fact.
Correct. Okay.
But I don't think it terminates the agreement.
Yeah, so basically it just reverts back to the final assessed value, right?
Yeah, but I think we need to word it in some way so that
This is maybe a dumb question, but assuming you're calculating the reduction in taxes based on the change, right?
Right.
Why would you be worried about a situation where the change would be less than originally anticipated? Is that's what we're,
Because it reads is that they, at approval, which is before
Oh,
there's
which is
any
before the work
construction
is done.
done,
Oh, okay,
right?
okay.
There's a fixed assessment, which I like, right? So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a business owner, I like to know, like, what is the
Roughly
benefit
what
of
it
this
will
thing
be. Of course.
before I spend the money,
sure,
right? So I like that, and then I believe the clawback is designed that should that not come through.
sure. So then that could be, did you write this, Brian, or is
That
this
was a
from?
carryover.
That was-
The
that was
clawback
with-
element was.
And written just like that?
I believe
So
so.
there
Okay.
was some discussion, right, Cleo, about if the work doesn't get done, or if the work doesn't get done in a timely manner. So if someone gets approval for this, tax incentive or reduction, and they say, we're spending X number of dollars over the next 3 years to accomplish this project, so what if it doesn't get done, or what if there's delays? I mean, what, are there time parameters on it as well, or just you don't get any?
Would-
And it's also
Relief.
if they don't become delinquent in taxes,
Right,
they don't, so,
right. It basically is a safeguard for the town that the
Right.
program delivers
Understood.
what.
I get that, but
Yeah.
my question is, the taxes wouldn't go up until the work is done, anyway, right? Taxes don't go up because you have a plan.
Right,
Correct.
So since nothing's gone up, there's nothing to claw back
there's no relief,
if they don't
yeah.
deliver on the raised
Right.
value, right?
Right, so would the concern be if you had like an existing business,
Yeah,
right? And they went and made this proposal, I'm gonna put another level,
sure.
right? And that either didn't materialize or it doesn't deliver the $100,000, $200,000
Sure.
increase, right? Would they somehow be able to get that tax benefit? And therefore that's why the clawback provision
Yeah,
exists.
I guess.
It
I thought
doesn't
that-
make sense, I agree with
You know where I'm coming from, that I wouldn't think you'd get a benefit until you've completed the work
Right,
and your assessment goes up, and now you get the benefit to
Right.
reduce your assessment proportionally.
right.
So maybe I'm being dumb about, but not understanding where the clawback, why we even have it.
Right, can't go down until it goes up,
Up,
and then
right,
down.
yeah.
Right, so if
Right.
you bail on your project, or you have long-term
then it never went up.
delays,
Is it some sort of a safeguard though, because you were fixing the assessment prior to the project being completed?
And
That
that's,
they're trying to have some sort of a safeguard to say, if that doesn't materialize, then,
Maybe the way to rewrite it is we don't, because the clawback, I agree, that was like, might have been more aimed at those larger amounts we used to have in this document, where we were going up to $3 million, remember?
Mhm.
And we talked through that's like,
that's just not gonna happen.
you're not
Yeah.
gonna, you're gonna need something much bigger from a tax incentive than what we're outlining
Yeah.
here, right? Maybe that eliminates the need for that, and it's a change to kind of, that the final application or final like assessed value will need to be like
Because-
confirmed
because-
after the final assessment.
And because that's what you refer to the whole time, is the
Yeah.
change in assessed
Yeah.
value. You know,
So
so if
maybe
something goes
that's
from
what-
100 to 200 because work is completed, then you've already complied,
right.
yeah. So I'm wondering if we could eliminate it, I guess that is.
so the way it was
I think
originally.
you need the escape plan, so to speak. You need that protection in there.
But
Oh.
that is stated though, that at any point in time, the Board of Selectmen can terminate the agreement.
Right. It's
Right,
like
but it-
over lawyering.
But
Yeah.
So-
terminating is different than getting money back.
But we're not gonna give any money to the, if
I
the
don't
final
think there's any
assessed
money to give
value differs from the initial estimate, there wouldn't be anything to give back or to claw back, right?
So here's how it was originally written, because
Oh, great, you've
it
got,
was,
Great.
this was the, from pre-COVID. Everything had to be 100,000,
Or more.
right, that was the floor. 100,000 and up, so it said in the event that the investment value is less than 100, once the approved project has been completed, any agreement entered into pursuant to this program shall immediately terminate, and the full amount of taxes exempt up to that point in time shall immediately become due and payable. So that's if it comes in under 100, you owe it all back, which would be any amount of taxes that are exempt. Maybe are they getting a tax benefit before the project's completed?
and that's what I'm not
That's-
clear on. I wouldn't have intuitively thought they would get a tax benefit
Yeah.
before the project's completed, so that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I think the mechanics of it, where they fix an assessment in advance, that's kind of what's causing this, because it's an unknown, right? Like, it's
True.
a project on paper, but then when you get to the end, that's when,
You know,
Yeah.
not to go crazy down the rabbit hole, but
right,
if you fixed your assessment at the beginning and suddenly it's hot, you're have a higher level and you get a portion of that reduced, if you've not finished the project, you're still paying too much tax because you know what I mean. You're getting so. It seems maybe a simple way to do this would say that the tax clawback will be based on the final assessed value once we're completed, you know, and the benefit would be reduced or or returned.
Right, and either way, this has to be run up the flagpole
Yeah,
with this
yeah.
town's attorney and all of
Yeah.
that, so, ultimately they'll determine that language, should it get that far in the
Okay.
process of being approved. Don't you think?
Yep, probably. I would think so.
So-
So, shall we just leave it as is, but say we understand that this isn't worded, like maybe we
Yeah,
just
put
don't
it in
have a good word.
italics or something that we're looking for, a little
yeah, it
guidance
just
in
jumped
that
out at me
section.
that, you
Oh,
know,
you're right. No, it doesn't.
When it's
As
been
it's stated,
completed,
it doesn't make sense.
then the agreement is
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
terminates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So we
But
need new
I
lingo.
thought fixing the amount up front
Changes
made
it,
sense.
right?
Well, yeah, because I was just thinking from business owner's perspective,
Yeah.
it would be difficult to say, I'll spend $500,000
To get a benefit,
you know.
right?
but also when a business owner does wanna take the step in making these improvements to get these tax benefits, there's gonna be another set of paperwork
Mm-hmm.
that will have to be completed, and so at that point, all the bullet points and information are really spelled out as well. So from a proposal standpoint, it needs to be clear, but it doesn't have to be the exact next step contract.
Does anybody know? Do assessments for commercial property in Woodbridge work the same way they do for residential?
As far as the timing of the
timing,
mill
as
rate?
far as timing?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, if that's the case, then from personal experience, I can tell you that it's in arrears. So I had to finish the job. The inspector came, valued the work, and then my taxes changed. You know, obviously, relative to the increase. So I got no benefit, or I paid no more until the work was completed. You know, and I had occupancy and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just the mechanics, right? When we talked with Marcia, one of the things I had in my notes was you almost assume like 25% of what you invest
Yeah.
actually turns into assessed value. Okay, so you put $100,000 in some business owners investing $400K,
Sure. And
Right.
maybe it'll be $100,000 change in assessed value.
and then the
Yeah.
tax implications of the program are
A
like
fraction of the 100.
$2,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I would think if that is, we're saying this is gonna drive the decision, or influence them to make the investment, they're gonna wanna know what the get is
And so that's why you want the calculation there.
in the upfront.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could
Oh,
see it.
yeah, I think simple math examples are
Yeah.
just so easy to understand.
Maybe would be willing to get guidance on what to write in for the tax clawback, because I agree, as it is, it doesn't.
Is there a paragraph missing? I'm trying to look back at the original one too. On that tax clawback.
I do not have it in front of
Oh,
me.
on the original?
I didn't bring my
Yeah.
computer, so.
So there were like two that were handed off. And yeah, so the original was what I just read, that it was one, if it doesn't equal 100,000, then all bets are off, everything's payable. I guess if you've already received tax benefit before, which is a little strange, but, and then it says in the event that it's more than 100,000, but less than what was originally set up. Like, let's say, you know, you entered into this thinking, oh, there's a $500,000 increase in assessed value, and it's really 200.
So then, what we did do though, remember, is the verbiage we added was that it had to be the assessed value versus in the past was going as like an estimate. So do we now get ourselves out of it?
Yeah.
Maybe that's how we solve the problem. Because before we were talking about investment numbers, and then there was a calculation later, you know, and.
Because now we're saying
Yeah.
that you're
Oh,
basically
you're right, Matt.
re-snapping
The investment
line.
value is less than 100,000,
Yeah.
not the assessed
Yeah.
value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just using assessed value for everything has kind of made this move.
Eliminated the need, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Because we had the two
I thought
different.
that the fallback section was for, people who are delinquent.
Well, actually, that does still make sense with Cleo's point. So
But
the
that's not what it says.
it doesn't.
That's
That's not what it
throughout-
says, but that's what it should say.
But throughout the agreement, it
Yeah.
says if you're delinquent, it's all due.
So we have that elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the way that it was originally written was around that if the investment is less
Right,
Yeah.
than what
Because
you
the-
originally promised, then the town has recourse.
right,
Yeah.
And we're really have avoided that entirely.
yeah.
Do you think we could then take out this section?
The clawback section?
Yes.
I think so, because I'm looking online and it seems that this clawback, provision is in a situation where the tax authority has dispersed tax ahead of time.
A benefit ahead.
Like, ahead of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Okay, and we don't do that. Or we're not, it's
So
not gonna,
that they're-
okay.
So it will become moot then, I believe.
So why don't we simply take it out? Solve that problem. Okay.
The only other tiny comment in the wording, the tax assessor will automatically pass any application over $100,000.
Yeah, that was how, like, that was the original verbiage, was that every single thing was going to go to the Board of Selectmen. So I was trying to stay
Maybe
within that spirit of that.
Valid application or, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
We don't
yeah.
want superfluous applications going to the Board of Selectmen. Like, they need to be reviewed by her.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one little word.
The,
Valid,
Right, 'cause-
valid or verified, maybe?
Right,
So maybe
right.
take out automatically and say pass on any validated application?
oh, are you, sorry, I didn't realize.
In your
Yeah.
yellow.
Or
Okay.
Yellow.
Section 4 for the application
Okay.
procedure.
I mean, would there be a case where business owner A says, I'm gonna be spending $200,000 on this project, which will ultimately increase my property value, and someone at the town says, we don't want that project.
Yes,
So it can't be
that's why
automatically
that's why we
approved.
said it has to
Yeah.
be an assessed increase in taxable value.
No, but what I'm saying is, what if there's a business that wants to make an improvement that we don't, as a town, the town doesn't want? Right, because it could affect something with planning and zoning, or maybe it has it's a factory and that might increase pollution, or maybe there's some improvement that we would say thanks but no thanks. I don't know.
I see your point, but if it's legal to do it and it's zoned to do
Right.
it, we probably couldn't control that. You know, if somebody
Right.
wanted to put a 100-foot gold statue up, it won't change assessed value, but it's probably legal.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So I don't think, I mean, I see what you're going,
Right.
but it would be illegal, there'd be some
So
other reason
it wouldn't be
So there was
approved in the first place.
in the first place.
There was
exactly.
under eligibility in section
Yeah.
2, it said for improvements made one of the following uses, office, retail, recreation facilities, then it says only legally existing uses, businesses relocating to Woodbridge, new business development and business expansion listed above
Okay,
and located
Great.
within a district. So my comment to that was who's excluded from that?
right.
Right?
Well, everyone's,
That-
we don't want to exclude anybody. If
Right.
you have a legal purpose, we want
Right.
you to do it. And
But
what-
legally existing
Yeah.
uses,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's basically saying like you're automatically eligible for it, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're gonna get it, because
It
it's
doesn't
ultimately
mean
the Board of
automatically
Selectmen's.
approved. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
their
we,
decision.
you know, we could also just say the tax assessor will pass on any application and take out.
Completed, how about completed applications? 'Cause
Completed.
I mean,
Sure.
people do
Yeah, that's a,
rotten jobs on
yeah.
applications all the
Right,
time.
or they just make a phone call and they expect someone else to do all the legwork for them.
Right.
Right.
so how about we take out automatically and pass on any completed and put completed in? Would that work for everybody?
I think that helps.
Okay. Okay. And we're gonna we agreed, I think that we can take out section 6. Yep. Yeah, and if we get told otherwise, you know, we can always add something back too. Like, this isn't gonna be the final version. Great. This is great. It's very clean, clear, so great.
Yeah, focusing on the assessed value and
Yep.
then just melding together property and real estate
Yeah, I
right?
think it made a lot of sense.
It took like 3 pages off.
It's
of
simple,
that.
it simplifies, anything we can do to simplify things is better.
And the last thing I had was so this October 1st fence, right? Like, let's say somebody gets a project approved in January.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a retroactive benefit to that?
No.
Or,
I mean, it's not retroactive, that's in section 7 or something.
right,
I mean, just by virtue of the way taxes work, they would never,
right. So if I get the project approved in January, or
We
let's say.
wouldn't, we also wouldn't increase their tax.
We wouldn't increase their taxes too, so
Right.
that's, again, I think we
Yeah,
don't have to
right,
worry
right,
about it,
right.
because the increase only comes after the project's completed,
Yeah,
so it kind of protects from that.
yeah.
So the
And also
project's-
avoids the penalty, what you're talking about, you know.
Okay. So the project's completed in January, but there's no change in their assessed value until the next October 1.
Yeah, I have in there too, right, that if it's less than 100K, I just made up numbers, right? We could get rid of this, right? Filed to the tax collector's office no less than 3 months prior. Because there was some verbiage in another section that referenced a time frame, and then for the bigger ones, no less than 6 months. I don't know if that's necessary, but I did it just so that if they are talking big numbers, right, you want to
More
drive
time.
that to the board of selectmen sooner rather than later before, so we could plan for it. That was the thought. I don't know if that's overdoing it or not.
No, I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Right, and the town can help tweak those timelines, because if the bills go out in October, do they pull the reports in June, July, August?
Yeah.
You know, they don't pull the reports October 1st and get them right in the mail, so they can help if there's timeline concerns.
Good point.
And personally, I also know, again, from personal experience, I got a call at one point saying, hey, I see your project's almost completed. I have you down as you're 20% short of completion. So they're looking at people's permits, you know, and following. There's some kind of diary system there.
So I think I would ask, like, if anyone wants to just kind of go through, give me a double check, right? Because I'm putting this together randomly at random times of the day and night. So if there's anything else that you guys know is a weird grammatical or doesn't make sense, you know, I've been staring at it for a while. You know, I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah.
I'll take it to Marcia,
Okay, great.
you know, for one last review from the tax collector's office. And
Okay.
then I
And
don't-
with the change of eliminating the clawback and
Yep.
the completed and automatically thing, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay, great.
yes, yes, yes.
And was there were we using collector and assessor interchangeably?
I need someone to tell me what, like, who to
I
direct
just
it
caught
to.
it under
Yeah.
category 1. It said it was filed to the tax collector's office.
Yeah.
Right, and that probably should have been assessor.
Everything should be
I would
assessor.
think we'd use assessor everywhere.
Okay.
So if you
Right.
see collector, change it to
That's a
assessor.
different.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that I saw it in a lot of other places. Though, Brian.
I didn't
Actually-
write most of the other parts, right? So
Is this
Right.
in Word?
yeah.
Yeah, you can use find.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll be safer and faster. Great. Well, wonderful. So, do you want to do that and talk to Marcia then?
Yeah, I'll send it to
Okay.
Marcia. I'll try to
Great.
get on her calendar, just sit down with her
Okay.
one more time. She was very helpful the first time.
Great.
And, you know, I think the other thing would be is I know we talked about sharing this with the more broader community, like you have a good sense of it being a business owner, but I think Jeremy asked to see it, so I'll try to connect with him.
Great.
But if anyone else has contacts to kind of
I don't
share this
personally,
with,
so
I would bet Jeremy could probably.
Yeah.
If you
Be the
get some
best.
feedback on it.
definitely to some landlords.
Okay.
Okay.
So is this something that we try to put onto the agenda for the December BOS or January? Like,
I think that we should probably have it ready. You know, everything's slower than you want in life, but I'd have it completely done on our side before putting it on your calendar.
okay.
So unfortunately, I think that means one more meeting where we talk and say,
Okay.
Jeremy's seen it, he's done this,
Got it.
this is the
Okay.
final that
Right.
we're happy with, and then we do that. So great, thank you
Yeah.
both, Scott and Brian, for your work on this and all the work from other people in the past as well,
Yes.
you're building on. So we'll bring that up again next month?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So next month on the agenda should probably be to formally refer it to the Board of Selectmen.
Yes, and I will put
As a
that down.
vote.
Oh, you have to vote to send it over to
I
the
think
Board of
so.
Selectmen?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
but
we
we should do it when we have the final product, right?
Yes.
And we'll probably have the final product next month. Great, well, next after incentives was zoning. So I'll share that, I finally got to talk to, Rob from Town Planning and Zoning. And originally, I don't know if you guys remember this now, because it was so many months ago, but they were hiring a zoning expert who was gonna work on cleaning up aspects of the zone, there's the zoning code. And so my first question to him was, would that be an opportunity to also standardize and streamline business district zoning? Because it, and I asked him, is it different for the different business areas? And he said, yes, it is. But he responded immediately to say that no, that was not an opportunity to do that, because that would be a bigger project. And what the scope for what they're hiring Mr. Chalder for is to correct things that are actually errors right now. So right now there are problems and tweaks, like something a zoning section will refer to a table that doesn't exist. So they're cleaning up mistakes in that process. So that was not going to be a possibility. But then we talked about, should we be doing that? And he said that he thought it would be a great idea for us to go to the Board of Selectmen and encourage them to do just that, to allocate some money to have a larger project done, to look at all our different business district zoning and see what we can do to make it simpler and more standardized. So,
And just in general, for me, just curiously, what defines the business district? So when you see where the hardware store is in Woodbridge Running, the rest of that road is residential. But if Woodbridge Running is on that road and that's a
yeah,
commercial building, who's to say if another house on that street goes on the market, can someone,
switch, yeah,
right, whether it's a attorney or a physician, or
Yeah.
it's something
Right.
a little more hustle bustle, like a coffee shop or a retail shop. So that, if you were looking at a map, would that whole street be highlighted yellow,
Or only certain
business friendly?
parcels.
Or certain parcels
Right,
and,
right.
do you already know the answer to that?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
right, so
But
you would
it
think,
looks like a patchwork, so
I think
if
it's- I
was
think
to
it's-
right, or you see,
hypothesize, it would be,
So actually, this is a perfect segue, because what I was gonna ask you guys, if I got your buy-in on this, I was gonna try and make an appointment with, I think her name is Christine Sullivan,
yes, she's
Who-
phenomenal.
and actually get her to give me a primer on what's what with those to bring back here to the next meeting.
It would be great to see the areas highlighted,
Yeah.
because even where you see Blue Check Deli, well, what
Yeah.
if that lovely house next to Blue Check Deli goes on the market and someone wants to make it
Yeah.
a bed and breakfast or something? Well, the place next door is commercial, why wouldn't that? So
So-
it'd be interesting to see how the lines are drawn.
I will do that, so if we're all in agreement, I'm gonna reach out to her the same way they reached out to
Yeah, I
Marcia,
would love that.
and I'll try and come back next time with an explanation. And then maybe we can, looking at that, make a decision, do we wanna try and encourage,
And
you know-
Jeremy might know that from his 2030 task
True.
force.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They may have a map that's highlighted of residential versus
oh,
commercial.
they do,
Yeah.
they do,
So-
I've seen them.
Oh, I would love
But,
to see that.
but there are multiple commercials, that's what has confused me.
Oh,
And
true.
I wanna understand
Different
why they're
letter
different.
codes,
What can you do here that you can't do here? And that was what I was hoping to bring back to all of us, to
True.
kind of,
That's a great idea.
okay. So I will do that for the next time, okay. And Rob said to go ahead and ask that she was the right person to talk to about that, so I'm gonna make an appointment, okay. Great. So I know we have, at least I think we don't have anything new to talk about on signage and wayfinding, right? I know I didn't have anything, so, okay.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, sure.
I should have asked this before, but obviously Betsy's not with us. if we're gonna, let's say I wanna distribute the incentive plan, sorry to take us back a step, but
Sure, sure.
if we wanted to send it to some of the folks in the community, is there like a dedicated email address that we have to send stuff out from?
Yeah, Betsy has a list of business owners and property owners, so whoever mines her computer.
So
if it-
it would come from like Betsy's old email, is that?
Yeah,
who-
Yeah.
because
that
when
was
we
sent
had
to?
events,
Okay.
Betsy had the data, I don't know
And
if she.
Sean's
had
gonna
it.
be bringing up a discussion of Betsy's list shortly.
Oh, good.
Got it.
So that's the
Yeah,
next
I
item.
think the contacts, I think what Brian is saying is like, should it come from a Woodbridge,
Like, I don't want it to come from my personal
you know,
email.
dot org
Oh, I see your point.
email address?
Yeah, that's all, I just,
Oh,
was asking
that's
as a
actually
clerical,
an
clerical
interesting
thing.
point.
Yeah.
We might be able to have Tony or Mrs. Shaw send it on.
Yes.
behalf.
I
Okay.
think you're right.
Yeah.
Actually, that would probably be the smart way to do that.
Okay, alright, I'll do that.
So now we're talking about business district events and networking. Do we have anything to talk about in that area since,
Not to my knowledge.
not to mine either?
Um,
I mean,
Definitely
one thing-
without Betsy here,
I know, we're all in limbo.
Yeah.
So many commissions and committees are in limbo.
and Jerry, when I did ask Jerry about that, she said basically, you know, if Betsy was doing it, it's on hold right now until we have a replacement. So that they don't have capacity to,
Right.
you know, there's no
But we
person to
should,
step
I
in.
mean, and I'm happy to look into it too, we should maybe in the spring, maybe there'd be interest with this incentive program rolling out or some other news that's going on in town, and maybe revisit the idea of a business, either happy hour or a networking breakfast or something
But
like that.
particularly when we have more to share.
Correct,
Share.
when there's-
I think
there's
that'd be
news to
great.
share.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I will switch, if everybody's okay with it, to the gift cards. I don't know if you have anything to talk about or that, or?
So, you know, so that, Betsy, I was kinda helping to support Betsy on that, and, so I just got some information on how to get this distribution list of the businesses, so I should have that in the not too distant future, hopefully soon. And then incrementally, I'm gonna try to chip away at seeing what I can do to move this forward, and if I can,
With the EFT?
yes,
Yeah.
with the gift
Mhm.
gift card,
Great.
which could then be a lead up to some of the things in the spring that you were just mentioning. They could maybe work together, and that could be like a lead up to it, especially if I can get some, you know, some positive feedback, responses, and interest in that. So I'll just give it a try.
Great, fantastic. On
Did we
bo-
get the,
Yeah.
the legal agreement and all that?
It was
Reviewed?
it was reviewed, yep. And approved.
On boards and commissions, and communication, I haven't been to another 2030 event in a while, but I plan to go to the one on November 29th, I think, which I just read that that's the next one. So hopefully again for next time. I don't know if any of you guys are going, but if you are, great. But
November 29th?
it's a Tuesday,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, here's a flyer. In fact, we have a bunch of flyers for it.
And where's it at?
It's gonna be at New England Brewing.
Oh, great, I was just talking to people the other day about it, and I wanted to know when it was,
I'm out of
so,
town,
great.
but I think I'm
Awesome. And this is 2 of 3.
Yes. So it's certainly, I'm gonna use it as an opportunity to talk to the 2030 group to find out where they are. And that's something also, going back myself, when I talked to Rob Klein, he agreed that they may be coming up with changes that would certainly affect zoning. So we really need to coordinate all this as we relook at zoning in the business area. So that's the small update on that I plan to go to that and bring anything I can find out back to the group next.
How was I wasn't able to attend the September event.
Didn't either.
I was there, it was a, time well spent. There was a good turnout of people from the community, the consultants that led it, were very organized and engaged the people well. We split up into groups. At that phase of it, they were showing illustrations and diagrams of, to try to get a sense of a theme that people were looking for. And also, like brainstorming sessions on, you know, some names of a name that could finally be agreed upon for the
Business
the
area.
business district.
Okay.
So it was a yeah. It was a
Did
great
they get
event.
into what types of businesses?
Yes, there were.
Should be-
Yeah, we threw out a ton of ideas on. Yes, lots and lots of ideas were shared, and they took note of everything. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be sharing that back in this
Okay.
next meeting.
And I heard that from Tony, that we're gonna get if we go to the Tuesday one, it comes with a recap of the last one, so that'll be
Okay.
catch up. Yeah. Great. And then as far as updates and announcements, I don't have any beyond what we've already discussed.
But going back to the 2030 committee, you know, within their purview, can they write proposals, whereas our committee is sanctioned to do that?
They're gonna, what's gonna come out of the 2030 project is a document eventually, which says, here's how we think the business district could be best improved. Here are specific things to do that. Here are changes we're encouraging. So it's gonna have real change. It should be a blueprint for action, and a blueprint for projects for grants as well, mixed in, with the change. At least that was the understanding I was given.
No. I'm just trying to think, like, should we have some sort of joint session with them to start to understand how?
That's why I keep showing up at all their meetings, because I think it's vital that we're on the same
I
page.
think it's really important that a lot of these departments, commissions are not siloed and there's a little more sharing of information. Because we're all working towards the same ultimate
Exactly.
goal, but just coming at it from different angles.
Correct. Absolutely agree. EDC, TPZ, and the 2030 all intersect around
mean-
what we're doing there.
If I was to sum it up, they're designing the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Okay, and we are going to be charged with filling it out,
Right.
right?
And
So-
TPZ is going to be charged with changing the rules to allow
Right,
that
it's all the
to happen.
layers, yeah.
So it's
exactly.
all
To
layers of the
allow-
same project.
Right,
Mhm.
right. So you're going to have like a frame, so to speak, right? And then it's what's actually going to go in there, who's going to go in there, right? That's kind of where I see the
Yeah, but-
line between them.
But I think by us getting involved, we may influence the frame in a way that's beneficial.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Right.
if you have an idea, like it has to be conducive to the types of businesses
Right.
that you want to bring in,
Exactly.
right? Like we can. I don't know.
I was more of
articulating it very well, but-
asking, like, who is there an organizing, like, because like you said, there's 3 committees. We're trying to avoid being siloed. Like, is there
Right.
someone on the Board of Selectmen that is charged with that activity?
Not to my knowledge,
Right.
no. I have raised this issue repeatedly,
Okay.
that there should be much more coordination.
Maybe that's a topic for discussion at the next
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen meeting.
Yeah.
Well, they updated their process to not have the designated selectmen.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
But I think that if next time, especially after hopefully I can come back to you with more information on where the zoning is today. If we wanted to make a statement and kind of share that with the Board of Selectmen, we could do that, right? That might be our opportunity to pitch why there should be more coordination here. Personally, I think that's missing, so we need that. Yeah. Great. Okay. Looking for a motion to close the meeting, because I think we actually have covered everything.
I'll second.
Wonderful. All in favor? We are closed.
Perfect timing. I
Thank
got
you.
off.